Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. Cardano is trading within a squeeze and we got a big incentive to go to higher prices. But in this video where I'm gonna cover Cardano in depth, including liquidation pools, news, on-chain data, I'm gonna explain how Cardano can get into a new all-time high of over $3. Yeah, sure, going into 1 point something could be the low-hanging fruit, but it's always worth watching how high can we get in this cycle. Guys, if you want to trade Cardano or any other altcoin including BTC, a pretty cool exchange is 2bit. This exchange was built by the same people from Bybit. It requires just 2 minutes to get a new account funded with crypto and start trading because it doesn't really force you to do KYC. It's available all over the world. It offers all sorts of leverage, access to all the altcoins, of course, including Cardano. And as soon as you sign up, you're going to notice that they deposit for free $50 if you use the link in the description. Now, if you deposit your own money to trade, then you can get a bite of the 30,000 USDT in rewards. Let's go straight into the RSI. There's something very interesting in here. In my opinion, this RSI where we are in here after the breakout from the white line is very similar to the situation of this internal breakout where we were just putting higher highs and higher lows, but not yet accelerating into anything exponential. I believe the key to get us out of here is to exit from the 63, to produce a breakout from here. So far, we have done pretty decent job in this area. After we fell below the line, we came back and we retested these levels twice. So those are 2 revenge rallies in a row. And I think that similarly to what we achieve in here, where we eventually put the last higher low, we eventually enter parabolic. In just 3 weeks, we achieve an RSI of 85. Now, the range high, if we continue in this trajectory, if we defend those highs after BTC and Ethereum has pushed already, we can talk about 87. And that 87, guys, is the number that can bring the price potentially into $3.2, which is, of course, over the previous all-time high of the previous cycle and sets us into price discovery. Cardano is US based, so never underestimate the support that is getting from the current administration. Of course, don't take it for granted, but it's one of those narratives that can also help other coins too. Looking at the current price action and comparing it with the previous cycle, you can see that we still haven't done that much. And if we were looking just for something conservative, we will be looking for anywhere above $1 into $2 mark, where we do not put a new all-time high. Of course, that is just thinking conservative. It could be that that is all we get, and that's why we are gonna rally this if we go higher with a trailing stop loss. I still don't have my Cardano in the exchange to distribute it because it hasn't moved that much relative to others. Many people are observing this particular pattern that you can see in here, where you see that the highs are being smashed. We are forming some bullish formation within this zone, and hopefully we're gonna exit from the top. If you want one way to notice that that's gonna happen or not, I will drop the time frame into the daily, because on the daily we are into this squash, as you can see in there. We still don't test again the resistance. We are within a symmetrical triangle, and we have all the liquidity that we want on the upper end to at least initiate the breakout. And that could be just going into $1 where we have the largest pool, or we could go into 1.2 to potentially secure additional upside. I'm sure that around 104, where we have this high, we must have some liquidity as well. Notice that we have done a fake out in here, and since we reclaim and right after we continue to respect the same trend line, that's why I keep the line there, and I have concluded that this must have been just a liquidity hunt. Now, when it comes to identifying what is the risk of not going there, because this is not for granted, right? We have liquidity there that doesn't guarantee we are going first there. So let's say we break down from the triangle. Well, we have some liquidity at 74, followed by 65, which is the largest in all this range. I will reserve the 50 cents for bear market. That means putting a new low. You could argue that we've been putting lower lows in here and that we should be due for another one, but based on seasonality, that will mean that really we are disrespecting October and November seasonality, which is an option, of course, but for that, we really need to have a general market collapse, which I've been calling, but you know, when I do calls on indices, I always say I am not intending to time perfectly the moment that we break down in the general markets. I think it will happen, I just have no clue when. So assuming it happens post-November, then we shouldn't hit 50 cents anyways, yet. On CryptoQuant, we can see that we also have a taker-sell dominant, just like on Chainlink that I just recorded the video, but the futures volume bubble map is currently cooling. Let's see what that means. Once we hit around a price of 141, we were with high likelihood within a bubble. That bubble already popped and we have already been in areas of cooling of 54 cents, followed recently by 79 cents. Those were areas where the futures was that cool that it provides cushion for a reversal to upside. Now, looking at where ADA is positioned relative to the rest of the altcoin market, you can see that it's very pair in pair with Link, just slightly below the green line. So we could say that Link currently has a little bit more of whale versus retail ratio, but not by a lot. They are very pretty much together with Sui, Doge, not just in terms of whale to retail ratio, but also when it comes to the bid ask ratio, which we can already visualize in here. It is in the positive. That means that there is some defense at the moment to hold the price. If we look at Cardano against Ethereum, we're gonna get some very decent insights in here currently going on. And since we're looking at the weekly time frame, you can see that Cardano is right against the resistance on the RSI weekly against Ethereum. This means that we might be in a timing similar to this, right? And once Cardano breaks out from here, you can see how it can perform against Ethereum. It's just a huge rally into the top of the range. And of course, that goes in hand with some move against USDT as well. In that case, it was a rally of 300%, but against Ethereum, it was a rally of 350%. That means that if at a time like this, you will have rotated your Ethereum into Cardano, you will benefit with getting 350% more once you liquidate back into Ethereum. In terms of Z-score, we are still below the zero line, you can see in here, but it's starting to creep up, whereas the price against Ethereum is just going sideways. Very similar modus operandi you can see in this area, and now in this area. Of course, patterns can break. Do not take for granted everything I'm saying and use your own risk management and your own opinion and research, of course. Looking at the short-term liquidity, we have the biggest pool in the past 3 months located at $1, and in the last 30 days that is located at $8.52, very close to the price. Actually, it is on the longer term where we exit beyond $1 and we can get even into 1.2 with large pools. When it comes to news, pretty much everything is bullish or moderate bullish. We have Midnight Foundation announces a partnership with Google Cloud. Midnight is Cardano's privacy-first sidechain. A Google Cloud tie-up signals enterprise-grade infra and visibility for the Cardano stack, which can lift developer and investor interest in ADA as a network token. So that's an 8 out of 10. A 7 out of 10 is well withdraws 67.8 million ADA from Coinbase. Of course, those withdrawals are signifying that there is an expectation of higher prices incoming. Messari releases fresh Q2 25 State of Cardano report. Reputable on-chain ecometrics update for Cardano strengthens fundamental narrative, dev activities, scripts, and usage. Positive data points can support multiple as traders hunt for October L1 rotations, which is what we are talking about. Rotations from Ethereum into potentially Cardano. I am not doing that rotation because I just sold a lot of Ethereum and I added a little bit more of Ethereum sub 4,000. Not a lot, which I already claimed that I wasn't gonna do. If we got into 3.5, I will have added a little bit more, but never as much as I had in the early stages of the bull market. As a quick summary, I will say if you are already rallying into this long, consider the areas of risk as part of your strategy. Personally, I'm not gonna touch anything up until we get into $1. Once we get into $1, I am going to probably most likely deposit into an exchange and start trailing and see how high can I get in this cycle. The full area of liquidity that we currently have left in this area is all within the extension of 1 since that rally of hundreds of percent into 1.3, 1.4. Everything else, you can take it as falling from heaven. No one knows if we really can get that high. After all, that will be a third wave in here of high levels of momentum. That typically happens after Ethereum has already put a new all-time high. If we get that, we increase the chances to getting as close as possible to 87 as possible, which is around the all-time high for Cardano. Any strong narrative that the government is gonna do something with Cardano, of course, is gonna make that a lot easier. But personally, I'm not taking that for granted. So as soon as we cross 1.5, 1.6, I'm gonna start getting very itchy to distribute my Cardano. After all, I'm already in profit, so anything additional that still provides the risk to reward ratio that I like for myself is my exit. You decide yours, of course. Thanks so much for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.